Also, I might have the shits because I ate American Taco Bell.
Yeah. Oh my god, is it different?
Oh, it's so much different.
Is it better?
You don't get the shits with Canadian Taco Bell.
Wait, so you don't get the what?
You don't get the Taco Bell shit in Canada.
What Taco Bell shit? Like you don't take a shit and like regret it? Like you don't like have like a really terrible like runny shit, you mean?
Yeah. Like you have a normal shit with Canadian Taco Bell, yeah.
That's interesting. I actually usually also have a normal shit on regular Taco Bell, like on American Taco Bell.
Okay, that might be your body being used to it.
I don't think I've ever, even when I started eating Taco Bell, had an adverse reaction. You know what I have had an adverse reaction to is Chipotle.
Oh my god, Chipotle is bad in Canada too.
Yeah, my brother like used to think that he hated Mexican food in general, and then he ate like actual Mexican food from like a place that is actually Mexican, and he was like, "Oh shit, I just hate Chipotle."
Well, that's a mood and a half.
Yeah, like do you know that Vine with the kid, and he's like, "I love Chipotle. Chipotle's my life." I can't relate.
We were at the mall yesterday because Carter promised me a Build-A-Bear because it's actually a flesh golem workshop, and we were looking for lunch, and I was like, "Oh my god, I love Chipotle," and he's like, "No, we're not going there."
No, thank you. I value my body.
Yeah, so
we ended up eating mall sushi.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, this is the perfect conversation to start the podcast.
Oh
yeah,
shit! Are we getting recorded right now?
We are.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
We kind of hit a snag, Aiden. We didn't come up with a name for this podcast.
A name?
Yeah.
Do we need a name?
Why can't that be the name?
Do we need a name podcast?
Yeah.
Do we need a name? Question mark. The podcast.
Yeah, it's just
a
a
podcast with no name.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like the horse with no name, except it's not a shitty pop song.
So, anyways, yes, we've been recording. My name's Carter. There's Aiden.
Hey.
My name is Aiden Elwood. I am the guest for tonight, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're also welcome to come on to like any episode you want. Like.
Oh shit! I'll be like the recurring guy.
Yeah.
I'll be like the anti-hero of the podcast.
Yes.
And then I go through like a small redemption arc like through every episode, and then eventually like I'm actually like the most like pure lawful good guy by the end of the episode, by the end of the season. And
you'll be the podcast host, right?
Yeah, I'll become the podcast host by the end of the season.
Okay, great, because right now it's me and I'm chaotic as fuck.
Well,
all right.
Well, let's start off with a question actually that we did not plan because it just came to me. You mentioned lawful good there, Aiden.
Yeah.
If you were to play D&D, what would your character be?
I think probably. So I'm going to preface this by saying I don't really play that much D&D. I have played it before, but I haven't actually ever finished a campaign or anything like that.
Oh, it's fine. Neither have we.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. But basically, I think so. I play like Skyrim and like Fallout and all those games really pacifistically the first way around. So I think I would want to be lawful good my first like D&D game, because every time I do one of those games, I am like the 100% Jesus route, pretty much.
So you're a cleric, like Carter.
No,
I would be
that's
be like a holy priest or like a paladin, probably.
Yeah, paladins are usually goody two shoes, lawful good.
Yeah, like in World of Warcraft, I play a healer all the time, and only like holy healers, so like paladin or priest.
Yeah, very interesting. Anyways, we know that you are part of a band.
I'm actually part of 3 bands now, if you can believe that.
Oh, when did that happen?
Well, I'm part of the one with Vincent Kane, who is another Melee Hell guy. Well, I mean, it's not really he's a Melee Hell guy. It's that I know him in real life, and also he's on Melee Hell. But so that's like a pop punk project. That's kind of like I think what he brings to the table is kind of like a Weezer kind of vibe and taste, and then what I bring to the table is kind of like a Green Day / ska, like street punk type, not street punk, skate punk type of street punk, skate punk type of thing, like Sublime, or like a little bit of like even like early ska, like Madness or something. I really like Mr. Bungle too, and that's probably where most of my ska influence comes from, honestly.
I had to show Carter Mr. Bungle yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, it's ska."
It's a lot. Well, the first album's kind of like that, and the second album is like an acid trip. Then the third album's like an acid trip on the beach in the 50s.
Ooh.
So also, the second band is, I guess I'm part of 4 bands, but only in the live sense. I'm only playing live with one of these bands. But anyway, so the second band is my metal solo project, which is called Quietus, which is kind of all over the place in terms of genre, but I kind of settled on like thrash metal, doom metal, and black metal as like the 4 like genres that it's kind of rooted in. And then I'll go, maybe like a little bit into other genres, but like the 4 that I'm going to like write the most with are those. And I just released an album like last year around this time, and I'm probably going to like start releasing singles or something again, because it's not like been creatively dry, but it's kind of been like motivationally dry. So I haven't really actually written a lot, but I kind of do have like a lot of ideas and like arrangements in my head that kind of have to be made with that. But the most productive project I've been part of is this new grindcore project called Artesma. And that's got a whole story behind the name involving like a salvia trip that I had. And we can talk about that later if you want, if that'll be a follow-up question.
I mean, just like Lindsay Lohan has taught us. Was it Lindsay Lohan? I'm pretty sure it was Lindsay Lohan. You don't fuck
I thought it was Miley Cyrus.
No, it is Miley Cyrus. Thank you. That's true.
Yeah.
You don't fuck with salvia. So.
Yeah. Because you make Miley Cyrus and her dead pets and shit like that. But anyway, so Artesma is the grindcore project, and we already have like 11 songs written, which really is like 15 minutes worth of material. But still, with like grindcore, you think like, oh well, like it's only like a really short song, so it's not that complicated. But really, like I've been able to cram whole songs worth of riffs into like that 1 minute, like 2 minute, like 1 to 2 minute like range. And so actually this has been like really productive, even though like the songs are short, because like I'm able to still get all of the ideas out. And it's actually faster than the other ones, because especially with like Quietus, I try to get this really intricate, like perfect, like 100% well-written thing before I even record it. And with Artesma, I can get there pretty much in a day's worth of like writing. Whereas with like Quietus, like there were songs that I spent like 3 months on one song and shit. So yeah, that's actually the Artesma one's probably going to come out pretty soon if this coronavirus like quarantine isn't super like fucky, because my friend has to come from like 25 or 30 minutes away to record with me. So we do have one song that's completely recorded, so I might just release that as a single and be like, yeah, the album's probably going to drop in like 2 months or something, and then that'll probably absolve me of any like people, if they're like waiting with bated breath, like, oh, this new completely unknown grindcore project, I really gotta have it right now. But
so
it'll generate some hype.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
This one's coming out soonest. And also the pop punk project's having a single coming out pretty soon too. They might release even like in the same week or on the same day. I'm not really sure yet. But and then I'm in a live band for my friend my friend who is in Artejma has a black metal band who I will be performing guitars for on stage, but I'm not actually writing in that band. I'm just part of that live band. And that's pretty much it.
I feel like being part of
busy fellow.
Yeah. I feel like being a part of like at least you said it was like 3 or 4 different bands, and like from what it sounds like, each project is producing a completely different sound from one another.
Yeah.
There's got to be like at some point there's got to be some kind of burnout, right?
So what's like interesting is because 2 of the bands have like the same people in them, and one of them is just me. So really, like, realistically, I think Artejma is going to play live, and my friend's band Manus, who I'm in the live band for, are going to play live, and we may play Kayatis songs with that lineup live as well. So really, like, the thing is, it's not as complicated as being in 3. Like, you imagine like Metallica and Megadeth are 2 very separate entities, and they have all these touring schedules. So imagine if you're in both of those bands. Like, only Dave Mustaine has been in both of those bands, but at separate times. But anyway, but just imagine trying to be on 2 tours at once. It's basically like, it's not like that at all, because one of them is just me, so I can bring those songs anywhere. One of them is me and my friend Jordan. And so if I'm playing live with Manus, Jordan's already in Manus. So if we ever want to do an Artejma show, we just bring people from Manus with us, and we just play under that lineup. So it seems more complicated than it actually is, but also none of these bands are really live music ready because we haven't practiced all that. We've had 1 jam session with Manus, and we don't have we haven't had a drummer at any jam session yet. So really,
that's a mode.
Really, it's more like we're just recording music right now, and bands really only get complicated, I think, when you're doing like shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, I used to play in a bunch of bands like in high school and college, and it was such a regular thing for there to never be a fucking drummer or a bassist.
Are they just actually like short supply or something?
Yes.
Drummers especially.
Yeah, that's why I play bass, is because nobody else would fucking play bass in the first band I was in. My first band was a Weezer cover band.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Your reason for playing bass is the same reason that I played viola in a high school, or in all school orchestra. Like, I started in elementary.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to high school. What was that?
Sorry. Keep going.
And then I went to high school, and between middle school and high school, I broke my arm in such a way that I couldn't actually bring my arm. You know how you have to hold a violin up to your chin and shit?
Yeah.
I can't actually hold it correctly anymore because of the way I broke my arm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, guitar playing, completely unaffected. And really, I could still play viola. It's just that my form is completely wrong, and it would look really bad in an orchestra setting for me to play. Because everyone has to kind of be in sync. Like, you don't really think of an orchestra as like a choreographed thing, but
it's so
everybody's bowing the exact same way all the time. Everybody's standing up straight with their fucking shit, like, completely like, everybody's in sync pretty much. And like, I wouldn't be able to like look as good as everyone else and play as well as everyone else even. So I just was like, well, fuck it. I have to focus on like junior year anyway. Like, this is pretty dumb, so I can't really do it this year.
So when you before you broke your arm, did you play in an orchestra for like school?
Yeah.
So okay. Every time I think of an orchestra,
not a musician, by the way.
I am not. So I'm gonna be very like. I was about to ask before you mentioned what it was. I was about to ask what a viola was, and you kind of answered the question for me.
It's a violin, but it's like a baritone violin pretty much. If you can think of like saxophones, like how it like goes lower in pitch, a baritone is like middle. Like it's I don't know the order, but like tenors high and like baritones towards the middle or like low. Like it would be like
the order is soprano, alto, tenor, baritone, bass.
Yeah, so
from
like
highest to lowest.
So if you think of like so it's alto and then tenor, or tenor and then alto?
It's alto then tenor.
So like imagine the violin is the alto and then the viola is the tenor. It's just like a little bit below in the range.
Okay, all right.
You know
and it's a bigger instrument.
You know when I'm listening to ska and there's the high saxophone and the low saxophone?
Yeah.
It's the low saxophone.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
It's the low saxophone of violins. And then there's an even lower saxophone as the tuba, as the cello rather. And then the tuba is the bass.
Okay. All right. I think I've got an idea.
I played tuba in high school.
That's pretty analogous to the bass in like a band. So I guess you just like those like fat instruments.
I played tuba because everyone else chose a saxophone already, and nobody wanted to play the tuba.
Dude, we played a tuba concerto one year in one of the orchestra years.
Mm-hmm. See, the only good thing about me playing the tuba was the embouchure is exactly the same as the trombone. So one summer I took a trombone home and taught it to myself. And then the next year, like, I joined the jazz band. And
that's awesome.
Jazz band. Yeah.
That's cool.
So
that's a life hack.
So I was going to mention, you played in an orchestra before you broke your arm. Every time I think of that environment of like playing in an orchestra, Ian and I have been watching a lot more Vines recently, and it reminds me of the kid with the cymbals, and he goes to hit the cymbals and he drops it. And it's like, at that point, as soon as he drops it, it's a little too late to pick it up, so he just does the salute while everyone else is playing.
Yeah.
To bring it back from that situation, has anything like that happened during a performance? Not even from you, like even like someone else in the orchestra? Have they ever done like a mess up during?
Actually, yes. I remember vividly one mess up during a concert. It was during, I don't remember if we used to do a school concert and then a at night concert, or if that was just in fifth grade for the fifth grade play and for the orchestra. But basically we played this song called like Taiko or something like that. It was like supposed to be like kind of like an Asian, very like bombastic song. So it's like dun 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 and shit like that. You know what I mean? So like there was a lot of like horns and stuff, and then there was like this one section that we would always have to come back to. Like it's like a coda kind of, like you would like do this at the, it's like, it's not like a repeat because well, I guess it kind of is a repeat, but it's just a coda is where it's a repeat, but then it's a different thing the second repetition or the third or something like that. But basically like it was like this song that we'd come back to like a specific part, but we went back to the wrong specific part the second time. The first time, you know, we go back to like repetition number 1 and it's like, okay, cool. Then we play the rest of the song again and get to the ending in which there is another repeat that goes to a second ending, which is like what we're supposed to play to get to the actual end of the song. The second ending is not actually the end. It's like a middle part that goes to the actual ending. So we played the first part again, and then we get to the part where it would repeat, but then everyone starts like going like, wait a minute, because that's when we all fucking like realized, and my teacher stops it before we like all fuck it up, like, and make like this atonal mess, because everyone's going to go to different places now because we all did it wrong. And that's really like the only like one I can remember because of just the fact that she had to stop it and have us go back and do it again, like the whole thing again. Like it was like a whole redo. It was really funny. Like I didn't think I was ever going to be involved in like a fucking mishap like that, but yeah. I also have one for chorus that actually involves me specifically. And so I think this was in like I think it was fifth grade actually. It was fifth grade in like the winter time. So with chorus, you would have like a winter concert and a spring concert. So we were doing the winter concert, and there was this kid Tristan behind me, and I think he had like Asperger's in retrospect. So like I kind of feel bad for this, but he was pretty normal. So I don't really know for sure. But anyway, so basically, I think he's doing some kind of annoying shit and just like fucking like tapping the back of my like. We're sitting on risers, right? So like everyone's kind of cramped together on these like bleachers looking things. And then we're also going to stand up and then sing. But when you sit down, it's not really made for sitting that well. So everyone's kind of cramped, but he keeps moving like his feet behind me, and I'm just like, Tristan, stop. And I like tell him like a bunch of times. And then like there's this other kid, David, who's just fucking like egging me on for some reason, just being like, why don't you tell him to stop louder or some shit? Like, I don't even know why he was involved. Like, he was totally outside of the situation. But anyway, like Tristan keeps like kind of like moving his feet around me, and I'm just like, Tristan, fucking stop. Like, I say this in fifth grade, and it's like, it's not loud, but it is definitely like speaking volume, and it is a quiet auditorium. So I don't know if like parents heard, but I did get in trouble for that. And that is a mishap that I was directly responsible for.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God. I'm glad your mishaps are like actual mishaps and not like when I got in trouble, like when I was performing in school, because like I wore the wrong shade of black.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
the wrong shade of black.
I know. Because it's like, okay, so like when I was performing, I was in like the regular concert, I was in the jazz band, I was in the choir, and I performed musical theater. So it's like I had all these black outfits, and it's like, fuck if I remember like which shade of black I'm supposed to be wearing.
Yeah, how about you give me a fucking sample to bring home so I don't make this mistake or something? Like, give me
how about
a fucking.
You just wear the same fucking black?
How about like you just fucking like don't care about what fucking black I wear for the goddamn show, like for real.
Yeah, the fact that it's like you need a very specific shade of black, just automatically I'd be like, fuck you.
I'd be like, fuck you, but also, like, this is a detail you should have ironed out a long time before, like, when I would be able to get in trouble for it. You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't be the one getting in trouble now. You should be like, you should have been 3 weeks before now drilling into our heads, hey, get fucking like hex value like 00000 black or else. You know what I mean? Like none of this like slightly navy blue shit. Don't you dare like fuck with the hue at all. Like we don't want any fucking like covert purple in there.
So help me God, if you had a 1 on the end of that, you are in deep shit.
Yeah.
Oh God. So can I be like Joe Rogan for a second?
Oh, yeah, God. Jamie, put that up on the screen.
You ever done DMT?
No, but I have done shrooms before.
Shrooms are so much fun. Do you want to tell us your salvia story now?
Oh yes. Those are very similar things, DMT and salvia, but in terms of how long they last, but not in terms of what happens.
Yeah.
But basically, all right, so this is the only salvia story that I actually remember enough to tell it from like start to finish. And I think it's and I'm prefacing that because like I think it's because I was with someone and I just like a dream where if you talk about it right after it happens, you'll actually remember it. Like you'll wake up from a dream and then you'll be like, oh, I kind of remember like there were McNuggets involved, and then like two hours later you're like, I don't know what I even dreamed about last night at all. But if you talk about it, then you're like, oh, well, then like, you know, like later in the day you'll be like, yeah, I really did wake up thinking about McNuggets, didn't I? You know what I mean? So that basically,
like you gotta go and get McNuggets. So.
Yeah. I got McNuggets on the mind, brah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this is basically this is regular doing salvia time. I think it was like 40x or something. And I guess if you want me to explain, basically salvia extract comes in like quantities. Like the X means how much more powerful it is than smoking the leaves. So if you get 1x, there's no reason to get that because you can just smoke the leaves. But if you get 10x, it's 10 times as powerful as the leaves. So you can go up to like 100x. Like you could get 100 times as powerful as just smoking salvia leaves. So I think I only ever went as far as like 40 or 60. I think it was 40, but it was either 20 or 40 that I smoked this time. And like the way that you smoke is you like take a really big hit and then hold it in for like 30 seconds and then exhale. And then once you exhale, it all really hits you all at once. And this time this is back when I drank. So I had a bunch of like liquor bottles on my table, like vodka and like fucking all kinds of shit, like and a whiskey
I don't like
mixer,
where the story's going.
like a whiskey mixer bottle and like all kinds of shit on there, and all of it was like half used because I wasn't very like I was a drinker, but I wasn't a very like fast drinker, and I wanted a lot of variety. So I had like 17 things on there. Like there was no reason to have that many like separate things. But anyway, basically to get to the fucking point of it all is the bottles were talking to me. So basically, they were like sentient bottle people, right? And
wait,
they were talking to me. I don't remember what we talked about, but it was a pleasant conversation.
Carter has only ever smoked weed.
Yeah, I am. So I've never actually experienced like I've never had shrooms. I've never had acid. I've never had like anything past weed.
Yeah,
and we only started smoking weed like when we started hanging out.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I pretty much started as a paladin. Like I was the goody two shoes kid.
So he might be like really confused right now, but continue.
All right.
I am
so basically, all right. So salvia basically produces a really strong like dissociative effect on your brain, and it does it in this really unique way that no other drug kind of really does. So that's why it's so weird, and like a lot of people don't ever do it again because it's not like other drugs. But I've never personally had a bad experience. But it's essentially the way salvia works is it's a really short high trip experience that lasts like under 5 minutes. And then usually the way it's happened for me is I have like the experience and then I'm like, oh wait, I just smoked salvia. And then all of a sudden it's completely back to normal. So I don't know if I think it might be cognitive. Like I'm just like, once you are out of a trip, then you're like, now I'm back in reality. So I remember I just smoked salvia. So it could be related that way, or I don't really think it really makes sense that if I think I just smoked salvia, then the trip's over. It's got to be chemical. But basically, like, it's not even like shrooms or acid even. Because shrooms and acid kind of take stuff that is already there and makes it look pretty, but it doesn't make it like, walk around and shit. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't
have your mind like you don't around different meanings to like what you're seeing and what you're hearing.
Yeah.
Like Carter, remember when I did mushrooms the last time, and I just really wanted to watch like Nanoland and Evangelion because pretty colors.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It's not like you actually see new things when you are on shrooms. It's more like everything that's already there looks really great.
Okay.
I guess.
All right.
It's the best way to describe that. I mean, if you take a lot of shrooms, then you will see new things, but it's very different than, for instance, like seeing like, like regressing back to like yourself as 8 years old and like experiencing the third grade and then coming back to reality like 5 minutes later. Like it's not like that at all. That's a different story, but I don't even remember that one that well other than that. So basically what I'm getting to is I don't remember any of the conversations I had with the bottle people other than with one bottle, which was a whiskey mixer named Artesma.
Oh.
So that's where the band name's from. So that's the connection for that.
Wow.
The bottle's name was Artesma, and he was just, all of the rest of the bottles were like, well, we've never met people before. Like, that's cool that you exist. And I'm like, I think it's pretty cool that you exist because you were just bottles on my table just a second ago. And like, and it was all really nice. And then Artesma comes in, and I guess he's like kind of a patriarch of these people. And like, he's all like, fuck you, like, get out of here. We don't want any of your kind around here and shit like that. I experienced like trans species racism pretty much, like these bottle.
I think what's insane about this is that like, I think there's so many things to unpack from this. It's like your brain is like creating a whole new world when you take even for a short amount of time, and it's kind of like based off of how intense your creativity can go.
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know, it's like, really weird, but like
I didn't what
no all right we gotta take baby steps.
No, listen to what I'm gonna fucking say.
Are you gonna smoke salvia?
Are you gonna make bottle people in D&D or not?
Oh, we gotta talk about that story before. So, you have Build-A-Bear workshops in like where you're from, right, Aiden?
Yeah. I mean, not really that near me, but they are around. Yeah.
But like you know what they do.
They make bears. Yeah, they make like little killer bears that are cybernetically enhanced to like go out and kill people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So
I had the same page.
I had never really been to a Build-A-Bear. Like I knew what Build-A-Bear workshop was, but I had never really like gone inside one. I'd never like even seen the process of how
gone inside one.
God damn it. But I had never seen the process like myself. And the way Eden described it is like, yeah, it's like a flesh golem workshop where they make little flesh golems in front of you and there's a ritual. And I'm like, whoa.
There's a ritual?
Yeah. And I was like, no, you're making this up. And Eden shows me this video of this 9-year-old kid going into a Build-A-Bear. And like, it was so jarring. Like literally like, all right, you take the little heart and rub it on like each part of your body for a different reason.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like spin around and like make a wish. And I'm just like, what the fuck kind of weird shit is going on here?
Dude,
I wasn't lying to you.
I don't know what it's called, but you know how liches like transfer their soul into another body, into like a box?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So we play a lot of D&D, as my first question was there, and Eden just kept referring to this as a flesh golem, like making flesh golems, and there's a necromancer with a ritual, and this makes me want to just make this concept of like a necromancer like building flesh golems for people, but they speak to the players as if they were just a Build-A-Bear employee.
Oh shit, that's cool.
So
that's funny.
So it's just like, now that you're telling me about bottle people that have talked to you, that seems like another cool idea that you can include.
Yeah.
Honestly,
like
they could probably just be
bottle
mimics.
People.
Yeah, but they could also be mimics too.
Yeah, because I mean, I could have easily imagined a completely separate race of like, folder people or like,
I think it all depends on
like
it depends on whatever was in front of you at the time too. So
yeah, like it was probably just like fated that I would see like sentient beings in front of me on the salvia trip. So
did you did anyone explain what like would happen before you took it? Like, did they give you any examples?
I mean, so I actually like looked this up. Not really. I knew about salvia because my friend told me about it, And then there was also like a little Rick and Morty joke in there, like in the first season, I think, where Rick is like, yeah, it'll be like shorter than a salvia trip or something like that. I was like, oh, I know what that means because salvia is like
2-minute adventure, in and out.
Yeah. It's something like that. I think he says something. It's somewhere, but basically, like, I got interested in it because it was like 2017 or 18, and I was really starting to like experiment with shit. And like that was when I first started taking acid and like shrooms and stuff. And then so it turns out like salvia was like legal for a very long time and only recently became illegal only in certain states. And Pennsylvania is one of those states, but I guess like it's not really like illegal on a federal level. So like mail and stuff isn't affected. So you can just mail salvia anywhere you want pretty much in like the United States, and no one's really going to care.
We have that here with mushrooms.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But basically, like, because salvia is not illegal federally, I was still able to get some by like I can, like, for instance, like New Jersey, which is right next to us, like I could drive to New Jersey and just buy salvia if I wanted to, because it's still legal there. But anyway, I was able to get it, like, and I don't really know where I was going with this, but like there wasn't much of an explanation other than I searched up how to do it, because I didn't want it to like be ruined by reading a bunch of like people, because I knew a lot of people would say this is terrible. You know what I mean? Because there's always going to be like, if it's such an intense thing for a short amount of time, it's like do you know the part of like Willy Wonka where they go through that tunnel and there's all that fucking crazy imagery and shit in there? And then they don't never talk about it again, but it's like really short and everyone's like, what the fuck just happened? I feel like a lot of times for if people aren't really prepared for salvia or like doing it correctly, that they're going to feel like the Willy Wonka tunnel thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think people will be like, that was terrible. I don't want to see that part again of the movie. Like, so they don't really do it again. But I looked up basically just how to do it. And like the 30 seconds thing I said, like you take a really big hit and then hold it in. Like, and I didn't even look up. So there's these videos on YouTube by this guy, Salvia Eric. And he does this other he now does different videos, which are like comment etiquette videos where he like types a bunch of really funny comments on shit. But he used to do salvia videos where he would smoke salvia and try to do things. So he would like smoke salvia and try to garden, but obviously he doesn't garden. He just like he's just like, and then you want to hold that in for like 30 seconds. I'm going to get the plant. I'm going to do it. And he doesn't even dig the fucking hole to like plant. He doesn't get that far. Like, he doesn't even get that far. But like, I didn't even see those videos before I did this. But oh, you know what? I actually have another salvia trip story that I do pretty much remember. If you want to hear it, it's the first one. But
yes. I do want to say before you say the story, the reason I brought it up is because like I'm wondering. Like, this could be for pretty much any hallucinogens, for people who maybe like me and like hadn't experienced it before. I wonder if kind of giving people examples of like their experiences or what they're supposed to be feeling will change their experience as opposed to them going in blind. Like, obviously, like I wonder if it's like some sort of like weird placebo effect. Like, you're telling someone you have to go in there with a good time, and it kind of changes how they would react to the hallucinogen compared to if they just went in blind. So
right. I totally agree. I think like if someone's like, let's say you're about to like trip on a new thing that you've never heard of, and someone's like, oh bro, it's gonna be fucking terrible. Then you're going to go in there and be like, oh shit, it's going to be terrible. I'm fucking really scared now, so it is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
You know? But I think people should say as objectively as possible and as not opinionatedly as possible. It's hard to do that with like a trippy thing because it's all kind of very subjective. But I think at least there's some like resources online like Arrowid and like Psychonaut Wiki, which kind of list what you're gonna probably have happen to you, but it's not like painted in any positive or negative way. It's kind of just like, this is what'll happen probably. And they have a lot of those for like they have that for like taking like Robitussin and like shit like that, and like they have that for like a bunch of different like things, but like at the bottom they'll be like, you'll see like visual hallucinations and like you'll be dizzy and shit like that.
They kind of paint it in the most like broad terms possible.
Yeah,
neutral.
It'll be like, it's like they're gonna put down, it's like symptoms of like a disease. Like if you have you might have runny nose, you might have like chest pain. Like they basically just list like, you know, auditory hallucinations or like visual or like, you know, and it'll warn you. And I think I did actually use Psychonaut Wiki for Salvia at some point at the very early process, like when I was first deciding if I wanted to do it or not. And it basically was just like pretty run of the mill stuff. Like it does say like it'll be really short and really intense. And I just thought like one of the things that turned me off from doing like doing like shrooms and acid and stuff like that is that it's such a long commitment. Like you have to be tripping for like 12 hours. Like you're going to be high for like a long time. And with Salvia, you're only in there for like
it.
I also like it for that too, but it's like kind of too much sometimes. And also I get this like feeling of like panic, like, oh shit, what if I don't go back to normal? But with Salvia, it's so short, I know I'm going to go back to normal in like 2 minutes. So like there's no real panic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, you had a story before I cut you off.
The first Salvia story. Okay, so the Artejma one is basically it, and let me just end that real quick. Artejma's an asshole to me. I'm starting to come out of the trip. They don't really say, nothing else really happens other than Artejma and me talking and him being an asshole. I kind of say bye to all the people, and then I'm just like, fucking Artejma as I'm coming out of the trip. And Lindsay was like sitting on like the chair nearby, and she was like, fucking Artejma, what did you just say? And I was like, yeah. And then I like basically recounted the whole thing, and that's why I remember it. And Artejma is the name of the grindcore project. So like isn't it such like a good, like weird, unique name? Like it had to have come from a Salvia trip, now that you know that it's from a Salvia trip, right? Like it's so fitting.
Oh my god.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And my first Salvia trip, I took like 10x, I'm pretty sure, which is like 10 times powerful. And then basically like I was watching Bill Burr that day. He's a comedian. And he was like still on my laptop, and I have my laptop set so that like it doesn't go to sleep. Like the screen will always stay on if it's plugged in. So it's been on for a while, just paused like on a YouTube video of just him doing like a stand-up special or something. And then I take the hit, and then like I look over at and then like all of a sudden, like as I'm exhaling, I make like this really loud like like noise, kind of. Like, I shit you not, like I can't really do it justice without making a lot of noise, and I don't want to do that at this hour. But like it was kind of like a sort of type of noise. And then I look over at my computer and I see Bill Burr, and I remember that Bill Burr's a funny guy. So I just start losing my shit at the memory that he is funny. Like, it's not a specific Bill Burr joke I'm laughing at. It is that he is funny. Like,
oh my god.
There's no reason for me to be laughing. I'm just like, oh fuck, Bill Burr, I love him so much, he's funny, and I'm laughing at that fucking thought. It's like, and then I like stand up, and then I look at my bed, and my headboard was like had like a bunch of pillows on it, and then I had something next to my thing, which was like a shelf, like a tiered shelf kind of thing. So it was like a shelf and another shelf and another shelf. And the way that all of that stuff was set up, the pillow and the headboard and like the shelf all looked like it kind of like curved out and like went all the way out my window and out into the street. Like it was a whole like line of pillows and shelves going out into the street outside my house. And then by that point I started like, I think I blinked once or twice and then it was pretty much over. But I think it was funny that I wasn't even laughing at like a Bill Burr joke. It's like I just was like, Bill Burr's so funny. I'm gonna laugh hysterically for like 2.5 minutes real quick.
My God.
That's
That's I don't like wait, so that the first trip it was a lighter dose than your second trip.
The Artesian one was probably like five trips in or so. Obviously not in the same day, but spread out over time. I would be very cognitively impaired, I think, if I did them all in the same day.
Oh, I meant like because you said the first trip was,
but like the first trip was the Bill. Yeah, the first trip, the Bill Burr trip was 10x. So it's it's powerful, but it's not like super crazy or anything. And I only saw like very mild stuff, and everything was still real. Like Bill Burr's a real guy. I had my laptop in my room. I'm seeing things I'm seeing basically not a lot of stuff happening, but it is a little crazy, like the way that I'm processing stuff and like my brain's working. Like I know I'm a little messed up. 40x and like 20x are like kind of a different story because like it kind of gets like as soon as stuff is talking to you and like moving around, I feel like it takes on a whole different like thing because now you're like actually invested in it. And especially when you like get transported in your brain to like somewhere else. Like I mentioned that I like regressed to like an 8-year-old and I was in 3rd grade, like in my mind as like a dream. Right.
Yeah.
That's like not uncommon. Like I regressed to like 8 years old. I think I regressed to some point where I was like 6 or like in like preschool. And these are, I think, personas based on memories that already exist in my head. Cause I've had dreams that are similar to these, like, and also like, have you ever like been hurt as a kid, but you're a kid, and this is very important because like you haven't been hurt in this way before. Like I remember my like first rug burn when I was like 4. I don't remember shit when I was 4, but I remember that because it hurt.
I do have like kind of memory of that, and I've told this to you, Eden. It's when I first got a scooter when I was a kid, and I tried to do a little bunny hop, and I ate shit and smacked my knee right into the right into the scooter, and it just started gushing blood everywhere. And I was like, I am never getting on this scooter again.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
mine was getting my head stuck in a stair rail.
Fuck, I forgot about that.
Wait, what happened?
I had to be like 2 or 3 years old at the time, and I was at my grandparents' place, and not the ones I told you about, but I got my head stuck in the stair rail somehow, and I don't remember how I got it in, but all I remember is my mom crying and my grandparents calling the fire department because they can't get my head out.
Oh my
Damn.
God.
But that's my earliest memory is getting my head
That's
stuck
awesome.
in the stair rail.
That's
I
pretty
think my
crazy.
mom still has pictures. I need to ask my mom for pictures.
Oh my God.
But like as far as those memories, you kind of remember what it was like to be that age a little bit, like like if you were going to remember that like visually in your head, like conjure up the image, you kind of also are 4 when you're thinking about it a little bit. Like there's a little bit of that like 4-year-old self that's like coloring how you remember it a little bit. Like, so I think that what happened was like some of those like that same process of kind of becoming a little bit 8 years old, like became all of me for like a sec as I like, and this is, I think, all closed eye. Like I remember there was one time where I took a salvia hit, and then I was with my friends, and then I was lying down, but I wasn't lying down before the trip. So I think sometimes salvia trips happen like you like lay back and close your eyes, and it kind of happens. So during those, I think you actually like I have gone places, like not crazy places, but it's pretty realistic scenarios, but like kind of weird. Like it's just like a feeling of like I shouldn't be here right now, because like I still am, 23 years old, but I'm also experiencing this weird like video game virtual reality type of shit, like where I'm like plaguing myself as 8 years old.
That's interesting.
It's a crazy drug, and a lot of people think it's like a lot worse than it actually is. I think like a lot of people, I think if you even just smoke the leaves, you would get a little bit high. I have enjoyed smoking weed and salvia at the same time before. Like me and my friend just like put a little salvia in the bowl, and it definitely like gets you a little like, it definitely enhances the high in a weird way. So like if I think like people could even like, if they wanted to buy the leaves and like mix it with weed, like they wouldn't even know that they were like, I don't think you would trip at all. You could probably make like a smoking blend or something if you wanted to, but anyway, do you have any more like questions for me?
Hold on. I love how, all right, Eden and I put together this list of questions, and a lot of it had to do with like your music and like the bands that you're part of. And this episode has pretty much been all about hallucinogens and salvia,
which is great.
It's not where I was expecting this to go.
It's great. We can do music questions now. I'm perfectly able to answer music questions if you have them.
Honestly, like a lot of the questions on the list have already like been answered.
Really?
Like, yeah, like just through the storytelling and stuff. So.
All right. So, well, I got a question, and it's got to do with topical Steve Carino virus. I know. Probably not a wrestling fan, so you probably don't know
not
that
the Steve Carino virus.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry to interrupt. When I go to Philly, I'm gonna introduce you, Aiden, to my favorite wrestler who lives in Philly. His name is Orange Cassidy. His gimmick is he doesn't want to be there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
But have you stocked up on toilet paper?
I was supposed to, and basically, like, I didn't realize how fucking crazy it was until I work at a supermarket, and basically, like, my parents were asking me to buy some stuff, and I was like, okay, I'll grab this, I'll grab that, like, I'll grab, like, bananas, I'll grab, like, this and that. And then I get to the toilet paper part of it, and I just get to this empty aisle. Like, it's completely picked clean, except for, like, paper towels. There are still paper towels, which I was surprised by. I feel like people would still get paper towels, even if it meant they had to throw it out in the trash instead of, like, putting it in the toilet.
Yeah, I feel like paper towels is like a good alternative.
Yeah, like, you could probably, like, use, like, a roll of paper towel in, like, if you're in need for, like, wipage. But anyway,
like there's more absorbency in a sheet of paper towel than in a sheet of toilet paper. Like,
yeah, and it doesn't fall apart in your hand, kind of. Like sometimes when I'm like wiping, I'm just like, damn, this toilet paper is like getting shredded just by my butthole. Like it's not very durable.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god, can I tell you a story?
Yeah.
Okay, so I cook with a lot of hot peppers, and there was one time with Carolina Reapers, and I didn't wash my hands like enough. Like there's still a little bit of capsaicin on, and I went to take a shit, and I wiped, and the toilet paper ripped, and I got capsaicin on my asshole.
Oh no!
And that was like one of the single most painful moments of my life. Like almost as bad as when I broke my foot, almost as bad as when I fucked up my hip playing soccer. Like I held my ass open goatsy style with a fin going on it.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
It just hurts so fucking much.
Oh my god.
Okay, sorry. Continue with your toilet paper fiasco.
That's pretty much it. I got to like this really empty aisle, and like I was just appalled at how fucking like panicked people are. Like, I don't think people realize like that it's mostly that like old people and like young people and really young kids, like babies and like immunocompromised people. And like, you know, there's some other people with like various other illnesses that should like watch out. But like the average regular person probably is just going to get like the flu and then that's it. Like it's not really like, it's not the flu, but it's pretty similar. But like
just wash your hands and you'll be fine.
People are really treating it as if it's like Ebola. Ebola's some horrifying shit. Like,
oh my god,
like Ebola is crazy. If it was like coronavirus was doing Ebola shit to people, I'd be like, okay, yeah, you guys are totally right to pick the fucking toilet paper section clean. But
yeah,
like,
then it's an actual fucking pandemic.
But right now, it doesn't really like it. I just don't. I know it could potentially be bad, but it's also like I don't think this is like the type of behavior I'd expect if there was a real nuclear threat against the United States. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the level. Like, I'm just wondering what would happen if actual shit's going down. Like, I feel like if this is like, maybe people were just really waiting for like some kind of shit so they could fucking like get all that energy out. Because I think next time something like this happens, it's not going to be nearly as like exciting. Like, people aren't going to be nearly as hysteric. But like, I think people are just like, man, I really wanted there to be another national emergency, like ASAP, so I can get all this like energy out. I think that's kind of what's happening right now, is that like people were like, damn, there hasn't really been like a terrorist attack in a while or something like for us to really panic over. So
like 9/11 was how many years ago?
like 19, I guess. Yeah. Not 19 yet, but it's like 18 and a half at this point, I think.
I remember when 9/11 happened, because like it was such a weird thing, like with Canada. Like, I have a very vivid memory of 9/11. I was in the 3rd grade. I had just gotten to a new school. Wait, I was at either 3rd or 4th grade, but I had just started at a new school. Nobody liked me. I was being relentlessly bullied. And we just got back from recess. I'm in tears because I was being bullied.
Yeah.
And yeah.
As one does.
Yeah. And when we got back, the teacher was like, so a plane just hit the Twin Towers, and we're like, what the fuck? So then she had to explain terrorism to us. So, like,
and the Lord of the Rings too. Like, it's a whole ordeal to explain the Twin Towers.
The World Trade Center, whatever the fuck they're called. They were called the Twin Towers back then, right?
It is the 2 towers is the Lord of the Rings, but I always make that joke because I think it's really funny that it's really close. Like,
okay,
and like those are both early 2000s happenings, like the Lord of the Rings and like 9/11. Are they connected? I don't know, but that's not for me to say.
It's interesting.
God darn Peter Jackson.
Yeah. It's really interesting though.
Is that his real name?
Is that his real name? Are you Peter Jackson?
Oh my god.
Peter Jackson Jihad.
Oh god.
I have the greatest Peter Jackson movie for you to watch, Aiden. It's called Dead Alive. It was his 2nd ever film. I think it was released in 94. But he tried making a zombie movie.
That's crazy.
It's so bad. It's terrible.
That's awesome. Is it so bad it's good? Is it like The Room?
It's better than The Room. So there's this
in that way?
There's this one scene where there's a priest and like there's a swarm of zombies coming toward him, and he just yells, "I kick ass for the Lord!" And he starts doing fucking kung fu on the zombies.
What the fuck?
This is Peter Jackson's 2nd film.
This is Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings guy.
Yes. Really? Lord of the Rings King Kong guy.
Dude. Lord of the Rings Kong. Himself.
King Kong climbing up those 2 towers. King Kong versus Sauron.
So a Kong hit the two towers.
Carter, I need you to draw that, okay?
Oh my god. I was gonna
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, that's true.
You may spank it twice.
Oh god.
I love that meme.
It was like really. It is really good.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite meme template?
Oh, template? I don't really do template memes, honestly. Like, I have, but it's mostly just to, like, pay the bills, you know? And not figuratively speaking, of course. I don't get paid for memes, but sometimes I'm like... What?
Yeah,
How?
I actually get paid to make memes.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so my, so I work
Is it, like, for Build-A-Bear?
No, I work for an independent coffee roaster. And my boss was trying to get
That sounds so fake. That sounds like a really fake job.
No, I swear to God, listen. I work for an independent coffee roaster, and my boss was trying to like get us on Instagram, but he didn't know how because he's like a boomer, and he's like, "You're young. Can you do Instagram?" And I'm like,
Can you do the Instagram?
And I was like, "I can make you memes," and he's like, "Yeah, go ahead, whatever." And in a month, we had 100 followers.
That's awesome.
I'll send you some of the memes. I do like.
Are they good?
Some of them are good. I do like Cars memes and stuff.
Didn't you do like Marianne Williamson quotes or something?
Oh my god, yes! I forgot!
Oh, jeez, here we go.
Oh my god.
And then she actually shared one?
Mm-hmm. It's like I'm eating a crouton.
I'm eating a crouton? I actually love croutons. I would eat croutons like by the bag.
We just made croutons today with sourdough. Dude,
croutons are like fucking... there was actually like this is a funny story. Well, it's not really it's a very short story, but in 3rd grade it's like a salvia trip. In 3rd grade, my teacher was like, "Okay, you got to write a paper about what's your favorite food." And in 3rd grade, I wrote a fucking paper about how my favorite food was croutons.
Oh my god.
I was the fucking crouton kid.
Oh my god.
Croutons
Isn't that fucking amazing?
I love that.
Okay, I'm the crouton kid.
Okay, then my crouton. So last year, I was living with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and she was obsessed with Marianne Williamson. I don't know why. That was just her thing. And
like unironically?
Yeah, unironically. So
like that she would vote for?
Yes.
Yes,
what?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Right. We'll get into that topic another time, but she was so in love with Marianne Williamson, and she bought her books, and I'm seeing her quotes, and I'm like, this sounds like Shigendo Ikari would say. And she was like, well, why don't you make a Facebook page about it? So I did!
Oh my god.
And we had thousands of followers, and then Marianne Williamson shared one of our memes, and Kotaku wrote an article about me. Yeah, it was great, because like that year, I had 2 other things go viral in Canada.
Oh shit, okay.
One being a raccoon following a woman in Toronto. And then the other thing, the other thing was bigger, was like closer to the Marianne Williamson level of viral. But I went to this nerd bar where you roll a d20 and it determines your shot, and I got a nat 1. So I just posted in the D&D group like, oh yeah, I got a nat 1, and like people started sharing my screenshots of everything. And then the bar got really popular, and then they sent me free merch.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty chillin'. Did I tell you about how I went viral?
How'd you go viral?
Wait, you can finish if you want. I kind of interrupted there. Is there more?
Oh, like the post on Imgur got like hundreds of thousands of views, and it was really crazy. But yeah, they treat me really well now.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I went viral kind of recently. I have this page called 2 Arms Are More Than Average.
I follow it.
Yeah, you were like one of my like people who shares them sometimes. Thank you, by the way.
Anytime.
And then, okay, so basically, it's kind of it was really small at the time. It had like 20 likes, I think. And then basically, like, I have this friend who's kind of a memer girl, and like, so in that way, she appeals to like thirsty dudes, but will spread memes really easily because like her meme taste is really good. So like a lot of what people will see it is what I'm trying to say. And so she shared it, and I was like, oh, okay, wow, so this must be a good meme that I made. And then I went to sleep, and then I woke up, and I have like 1,000 people liking my page now.
Yes.
And I was like, what the fuck? And so I still have I have like almost 2,000 now, I think, just from that one meme, pretty much. And there's like this thing on Facebook pages where it says how many people you've reached. I don't really know what that means. Maybe it's like if they've seen it or like interacted with it or something, like by liking it or sharing it.
It's what they've seen.
Okay.
Like
so apparently over 1 million people have seen it.
Oh,
nice.
fuck.
So like I suppose that's kind of like hitting 1 million views on YouTube or something, but yeah.
That's amazing.
And I haven't had any posts go that far since, not even like over 50. So like likes. So but it was very shared, and it was definitely stolen a couple times too. Like there's this page, CTFU World, who like actually took the caption and remade it with James Bond as like the dude. I should explain the meme. So basically, you know the song from like 2009 that was like, Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep. Yeah. So I made a song. I made a hybrid of the meme with the black dude, and he's like, I may not show it, but blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like it's it's a meme template where at the top it's like I may not show it in like the 100 one, and at the bottom it's like you change it out for something else. So I changed it out for Shawty's like a melody in my head. And then everyone like started sharing it because I guess I really hit like the like exact nostalgia that everyone really wanted to hear. So,
jeez.
So that's really the only viral thing I've done outside of Melee Hell. So like, yeah, that's my mainstream success story, my one-hit wonder.
It's good stuff, though.
Yeah. I'm having a look at the clock here, and we've been going for pretty much about an hour.
Is that how long the podcasts are going to be?
It could vary, but I feel like I think we got a good amount of stuff. What do you think, Aiden?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah,
I think this is a very interesting first episode to a podcast.
It's going to be very interesting.
This is a good first episode.
So, Aiden, do you have anything you want to shout out before we finish up here?
I guess.
Our names are so close. Fuck.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry,
Aiden,
you go.
Aiden first.
All right. So I guess follow my band pages, which I suppose will be linked in the description. I assume.
Yeah, I'll get all the info. Like after.
And then I guess I'd like to shout out pooping, the process of pooping. And that's pretty much it.
All right. Now, Eden, do you have anything you want to shout out?
The other person with the den ending. So you get a loaf of bread, you cut it up into cubes, you toss it in the oil, you pop it in the oven at 350 for 10 minutes, and you've got croutons.
Really?
Yep, that's it.
That's all you gotta do.
That's awesome. I should do that. I should make them.
And
the crouton making machine.
Yes.
Yeah. So well, thanks guys for everyone joining here today. And see you guys next time.
All right.
Catch you on the flip side.